Hey folks, and welcome to another edition of Minister's Bullet. I want to continue to look at some verses in First Corinthians with you. We're going to stick with chapter 13, which is a short chapter about love. And I want to focus on one of the most famous verses in all of Scripture, especially when you're talking about love. And like I said in the last video, it's referenced a lot in weddings. Um, it goes into pretty good detail. Paul does, describing what love is, and I want to talk about that. So let's look at chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. And as always, I read from the ESV, and in that Paul writes, "Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things." Um, when I first looked into this verse and I knew I was going to talk about it, what immediately jumped out at me was that all of the fruits of the Spirit, which you find in Galatians chapter 5, are mentioned here. Not necessarily all of them by name, but I can see them all in this short passage. Love obviously is mentioned. This whole passage is about love and describing what love is. Patience is mentioned by name, um, and patience is important to any loving relationship. Um, you None of us are perfect. No, a relationship, a marriage, is really two imperfect people who are going to make mistakes, who are going to sin. And in that relationship, if it's marriage or if it's with your parents or your children, your family members, if it's true love, you're going to be patient, you're going to be understanding, and always kind. Kindness is mentioned. That's another fruit of the Spirit. So the whole passage is about love, and it mentions by name patience and kindness. Um, and I think you can see gentleness in here. It doesn't envy or boast. It's not arrogant. It's not rude. It doesn't insist on its own way. Love has a very gentle way about it. Um, uh, it's not irritable. It's not resentful. It's very gentle. I see You can see self-control in love here as it's described. It doesn't insist on its own way. It's not irritable. Um, uh, any kind of loving relationship, um, as I've mentioned many times in the past in prior videos, especially marriage, it's not about self. It's about your partner. Um, and as Christians, we're called to be selfless, and that's reflected in all of our relationships. We put others, especially our spouse, we put their needs above our own, and that's what not insisting on your own way is talking about. It's talking about self-control and dying to self. In a true loving relationship, it's not about you. Um, I see goodness throughout this passage, rejoicing with truth, um, hopes all things, endures all things. These are good things. Love is a good thing. Um, and I see joy as well, in hoping all things, enduring all things, bearing all things, um, rejoicing. Rejoicing, it mentions rejoicing. You could actually say that joy is mentioned specifically in this passage, a fruit of the Spirit, here in this passage, that you rejoice with the truth. Love rejoices when your partner, the one you love, when they rejoice, when they're happy, you're happy with them. You feel their excitement. You feel you experience that joy with them. All loving relationships are built on empathy, that you feel what they feel. If they suffer, you suffer with them. Um, and peace. I think bearing all things, hoping all things, enduring all things, speaks to a sense of peace. Love, um, is a peaceful emotion. The love we feel from God brings us a sense of peace, and we want the love that we express to others to give them a sense of peace too. And when we are loved, we feel that peace. One thing I do want to talk about is the love bears all things, believes all things. So what does it mean to bear all things? I looked this up. The Greek word that is actually used in this verse is stego, and it means roof or cover. So bearing all things is like you've got this protection over you, and you've put this roof or this cover over the one you love. And what it means is you bear their sins, their failures, their imperfections. You're not critical of them. You don't harass them. You don't finger point at them. You bear, because like I said earlier, uh, we're imperfect beings. We're sinners. We're going to sin. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fail. But true love tolerates that, bears it. Um, and talking about believing all things, that means you trust them. It's built on trust. You give your partner the benefit of the doubt, and endures all things. Love prevails, doesn't give up. It endures. So this passage right here in 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7 is a great illustration and description of what true love actually is.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and join and follow us on these platforms.